Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm the host, Jeremiah Fox. We started last year. We started off the year last week with a Firestarter show. My man, Dom Jackson, always getting me pumped up. We're going to continue that energy today. Very special guest, old friend. We go back a solid 30 years. We even dated a little while in high school. This is a total trip. And we haven't really spoken much since then. We connect from time to time. We lived in Virginia Beach, Virginia at the same time for a period. But before I bring her on, the message of the week, which is something that she shared with me. I've heard it before, but it's just a really great mindset. And it is, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. With that, welcome to the show, Jennifer Schratwieser.
What's up? Hi, how are you?
This is a total trip.
I know.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Originally from San Diego, correct?
Yep. So originally from San Diego, the family moved to Virginia Beach when I was 14. My sister and I were not happy about the move, but we jumped in and just kind of made it home. I'm still here. 30 years later.
And same for me. I moved to there. I was about 10, I think. And I remember we kind of connected early on because we both kind of hated the place. So we were like, we used to shit on it all the time. And we both said we were going to leave, and I did. You stayed.
You did. I did.
I'm out of here, man, as soon as I could. And no regrets. Family's still there, so I still come back from time to time. But you set up roots there, and still there today. It's pretty awesome.
I am. I have a little girl who keeps me here. She's not so little anymore. She's 17, but
yeah,
she's here, so I'm here.
Awesome. And career-wise, so we also both worked in restaurants together. For those of you that are listening that don't know us in our history, and Jennifer is the one who really roped me into why not pizza, why not Italian, whose owner, Tony DiSilvestro, the CEO, big man, has been on the show, and he's continued to be a major influence on me. We still talk regularly, and I think you guys probably stay connected as well.
We do. I still see him probably at least once a week. He's still somebody I look up to and kind of taught me everything I know, really. Hardworking and stay motivated and focused, and yeah.
Yeah, well, not everything, and we're going to get to that. But yes, we both kind of like coalesced on him at the same time. In fact, it was really, you got a job there, and I was the creeper boyfriend, was like, oh, really? You got a restaurant job, huh? And then I showed up there, and
That's right.
That was the end of that. But yeah, same. Tony like just taught me so much, and continues to. But what my brother and I, he was on the show recently, and we went down this kind of rabbit hole of DNA and family and that influence on us. So like Tony definitely like kind of took us and kind of like fed that monster a little bit more. But like really coming from our family, like my brother and I were talking about our grandfather, and your dad reminds me a lot of him. And Bill was like, still is, right? Still hustling.
He is. Yeah. He's a hustler. He was in the car business for forever and ever, and finally got out of that. And him and my mom own a little shop in Virginia Beach called the Tin Soldier. And yeah, he's still hustling. And
you and your sister are both kind of like taken that same kind of initiative where you were in cars for a little while, right?
I did. I worked at a local Ford dealership here, and so I did aftermarket, which is basically everything but the car. So your paint protectant and all that, and that kind of got me going, and being aggressive and thinking outside of the box and finding leads. Yes. So.
Right. No, but that's funny. Like that's how I would characterize Bill. It was like aggressive, but like, and to me, it was always in the best possible way. Like he was an inspiration to me as well. And I just remember watching him. I mean, shit, I bought a couple cars from him.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, but like, it's great to see like my brother and I both taking on like these separate parts of business and different facets of it, but you and your sister as well. And she's in real estate, and I've seen some of her action on social media as well. And it's like, wow, this is ingrained in us. This is not like random. We didn't go right. You didn't go to school for this, did you?
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't. Same. I got a taste of it and loved it. And yeah, it's fun.
And that was it. And then at a certain point, you transitioned from the car industry into marketing and network.
I did.
What was that transition like?
It was fun. You know, I started after when I left the car dealership, I went to work for Auto Trader, which I'm sure everyone's heard of Auto Trader.
Yep.
Had the weekly magazine and did that. And they closed the publications nationwide. And I jokingly with my partner at the time, started our own magazine. So went from you know, working for somebody to starting my own business, and being a woman in a very predominantly male industry was definitely
especially cars, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know, it's all I knew. I grew up with it, so it was a good fit. So did that for 8 years. It was time to kind of put that to bed, and then got into media sales. So now I'm doing television, dabbled with some billboards too. So a little bit of everything.
So tell me, I didn't know about your own endeavor. Tell us more about that, please.
So we got the call the Auto Trader was closing down, and then a week later had a magazine, and nobody kind of thought we'd be able to pull it off. So the first issue was like, I think 16 pages, and then it grew and grew. It was really fun. We did it in all glossy. You know, we tried to make it a little bit better than the previous version, and a lot of hard work. It was a weekly publication, so we joked around about, you know, making the donuts. Get one publication done and you start the next. So it was fun and hard work.
What was the name of it?
Auto and Truck Marketplace.
Okay. And what was your distribution like? How were you guys statewide? Were you East Coast, national?
No, we kept it in the Hampton Roads, which is like the 7 cities. So Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, all of those. And then we had an online version of it as well, because, you know, as we all know, online is where you need to be these days.
What years did you have this publication from?
We did 2008 till 2017, I guess. Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. And Auto Trader too. They were digital as well?
Yes.
When they were operational, right?
And they still have some components of their online for you know, motorcycle trader, boat trader, auto trader. So.
And when you were there, did you work in both sides of that, or were you mainly digital? Were you mainly you know, tangible, like actual print publication?
It was both. I mean, when we first started, it was definitely more on the print version of it, and then we just kind of migrated towards the digital components of it, and then at the end, it was definitely hand in hand for both.
And were you doing ad sales for them, or what was your
I was. So I would, you know, you'd have your book of business, but going to go find your business was the tough part. It's, you know, you're out in your car, driving around, cold calling, walking into dealerships, asking to talk to the decision makers, which some of them would give you the time and some of them say no, or you're back again. But, you know, like anything in life, persistence usually pays off. So that's what kind of drove me.
That's awesome. That's great. It's so funny because like I'm that person now and I get hit up all the time and it's just obnoxious. Most of the time these days. I mean, COVID was kind of a blessing in that regard because they don't come in anymore. Now it's just like emails. Nobody has my phone number, you know, or if I don't know who it is, I just don't answer. But my God, the emails, and everybody's just got the solution for me. They're like,
oh yeah, for sure. That's when we finally started the magazine up and going. My phone rang all the time of, you know, you need to be doing this. You need to be doing this. So it was nice to see that version of it too, and critique the people calling on me, and, you know, learn from them a little bit too. Sure,
of course. I'm curious because I always love this part of the show where, you know, we get to talk about, you know, starting up a company in a certain industry. Like I know nothing about starting a print publication. I mean, obviously somebody's got to print it. Like you need, you know, paper. You need both kinds of paper, right? You need, you need the paper to start it and then the paper to print it on. What's funding like? What's it like getting that off the ground? Cause like, I literally have no clue.
You know, I look back at it and I still have people come up to me that were in the automotive industry and they say, how the heck did you do that? How'd you pull it off? And, because it was so fast, we kind of just had to jump into it. And we somewhat in the beginning modeled after like the Auto Trader way. So we kept some clients that we had, people that really, you know, believed in the product and liked the whole print dynamic. Started with those guys. We actually bought all of the old distribution boxes that you'd see like at, you know, bus stops, stores, things like that. We, you know, went in and changed some of those locations that really weren't producing as well as we wanted. So it was when I say every week, we were learning and bobbing and weaving and doing all of that. It was literally every week. So, it took us a little while, but we got a groove and it was working for everybody, selling cars, and it was a win.
And I think all industries are kind of like that. You just feel like you're in a pinball machine,
Oh, yeah.
and you're the ball and it's just like ting, 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 no matter what. I mean, even with all my restaurant experience, like 25 years, still opening the first one was horrible. It was just
awful. I
bet. Just like, I mean, maybe if you were buying into a franchise and there were systems in place and all that stuff, it would like be easier. But I feel like even with all the experience, you like open a brand new thing that's never been done before. You're just, you're asking for it.
Oh, yeah.
And then what was just like ballpark funding like to get this off the ground?
So my business partner ended up putting some money in, and then we got 2 investors, and then we ended up taking one investor out. So
like
we
took them out, like
time to go. But
not supposed to tell them that on now. We're on live radio, Jen.
I know, right? Sorry. But we just kind of were lucky. And then the first probably, and it was in 2008, which when things were a little rough at that time. So,
awesome time. Yeah.
Yeah. But we just kind of probably by month 2, we had enough issues under our belt that, we were starting to have a little cushion in the bank and could start writing paychecks.
But like in general, are we talking like $50,000, like $100,000?
Yeah, probably like 50,000. The printing of it was the most expensive part of it.
I can imagine.
So we went with a small local place, actually out of Elizabeth City. And then as we grew, we brought in another printing facility who actually we gave a small piece of it to. So he basically printed the magazine at cost for us.
Nice.
So by doing that and making those changes, it definitely helped.
Yeah, sure. No, that's great. That's great. And then when you guys, when you wrapped up, did you sell the company? Did you just like shut it down?
So at probably like the last year of it, I basically did everything myself, which was really hard. I didn't do the graphic design work of it, but the selling and the making the donuts, as you will, did all of that. And then I slowly weeded myself out of it, just, to get a fresh change and, try something different. And that's when I got into TV sales. The magazine stayed open for a little bit. And then it was just it just fizzled out. We were all just kind of like, it was a great run. Yeah. I was thrilled because it enabled me to have flexible hours with my daughter, who was young at the time. So like I say, it was a good run.
Yeah, that's funny. That's like there's a lot of allures to actual like owning your own business. Most of it's garbage. Most of it's just like phony and fake. Yeah. But you do get like a liberal schedule. Like if you have kids, I mean, that was like one of the things that definitely pushed me in is like we had our first kid and I was like, man, I can't like be gone, 60 hours a week.
Absolutely.
Or we both can't. Like that really sucks. We wanted to raise our own child. And so it was like, well, how do I get that liberal schedule? And that was one of the things that's actually legit. Like you can make your own schedule. It doesn't mean you don't work a lot. It just means you get to you may get to choose when you
exactly. The waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the, oh crap, I didn't do that. Or, those things, or that's the hard part of it.
Exactly. Or just actually working until 3 in the morning, which
exactly.
Really exactly. Sucks. All right, we're going to take our first break. Hang tight. The rest of you hang tight. We'll be back in just a few, everybody. Welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox. Today, we are zooming into Virginia Beach, Virginia, a place I lived for a good amount of time, talking with a dear old friend. We go back about 30 years, Jennifer Schratwieser. We spent the first segment talking about DNA, how our family influenced us in terms of getting into business and what we're doing and kind of that aggressive hustle. Also some mentorship. We share a mentor in Tony DiSilvestro, who has been on the show, and then kind of talking about Jennifer's trajectory, starting in car sales, getting into print publication and media sales, and then starting her own, which I didn't know, her own publishing company or her own publication. And then kind of sunsetting that. And now you find yourself working for Channel 13, is that right?
Channel 13, WVEC, ABC affiliate here in Norfolk, Virginia.
Are they downtown?
They are. They're in downtown Norfolk. right over, kind of near Ghent, right over there.
Yeah. What's, I ask everybody that's not in New York, because I know what it's like here. What's the scene like right now in terms, like, especially because of COVID? Like, what's going out like, shopping like? Can you eat inside in a restaurant there right now?
You can.
Yeah,
They
can't
do
do that
like the
here right
6 foot distance kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's weird, even work. Like I left work, they sent us home March, I think 13th, and was like, you're gonna
Yeah.
work remotely from home. So I've been sitting right here for almost a year now.
Gotcha. So you're not going into the office.
No, and I'm doing kind of like what we're doing, Zooming,
Yeah.
setting up calls. It's really forced everybody to think outside the box for sure.
Big time, big time. And fortunately for me, I do maybe 2 hours a week on Zoom. I do this for an hour, and then I might have like a meeting or two that can only be done through Zoom. Otherwise, you know me, I can't be sitting down, man. That's not my style. I'm like always up and running around and going to multiple businesses and locations. Like I'm a peacock. I gotta fly.
I know, me too. It's been hard. It's been tough, but you got to adapt and do the grind, however, got to get done.
Yes. So how did things start for you at ABC, whatever it is? What is it?
My TV experience, I started at Channel 3, which is a different place, worked there for a little bit, and then made the move to billboards, and then now at Channel 13. I've been here for, God, I started like right before all this COVID stuff started. I started in January, so I've been there a year. But it's kind of, I did it before at another station, so it's finding a groove, and yeah, it's been fun. It's a fun way to help people. It's a huge platform of getting your messages across, so it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
And are you selling media across like all shows? Is there a specific part of the station that you specialize in, or?
So in the world of TV, we call them Dayparts, our morning news. Like, what do? We all are creatures of habit. You probably wake up, watch the news, see what's going on in the world, the weather, what are you going to wear, whatever. So I can start selling commercials at 4:30 in the morning for 24 hours long. It's all up for grabs. So it's there for who anybody wants to get it.
Right. So all the way, you're across all the programming on the channel, like
anything from news to Grey's Anatomy to you name it, we got it. Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but I worked in ad sales for a year when I first moved to New York.
I didn't know that. Doing what?
You're gonna love this. I worked for BET.
Nuh-uh.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I thought I was African for a little while.
You and the dreads. Oh, yes.
I still feel the pain from you and my dad ripping my hair out of my head that night. Yes. That was awful. Yeah, it was so funny. Like when I first moved here, I got a restaurant job right away, because that's just what I did to every city I moved to. That's just what I did. Restaurant right away, start to work the music hustle as well, and see, what panned out, which worked really well in Rochester and Buffalo, because there is pretty good restaurant scenes there and good music scenes. And so one just kind of like fed into the other. But New York's a different beast. And I specifically wanted to focus on food here. That was just like always a dream of mine. Like as a kid, like to cook, like ratatouille, like cook in New York. Anyone can cook, I was like, wanted to do that. So I just pursued it right away and landed a really great restaurant job. But it was, the requirements here were like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like just the commitment and the competition and the craziness. I mean, the only thing that was close to that experience was the oceanfront Why Not? So just imagine that like all the time, like in October. And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. We had just got married and we didn't have a kid yet, but Patty was teaching, she was working days, I was working nights. She was like, I'd like to see you at some point. And I was like, all right. I was looking for some daytime, like prep manager gigs, but I just couldn't find anything. And a buddy of mine was working for a temp agency. He's a musician. And he just got he was like, oh, go take their test. They'll place you somewhere easy. It's daytime work and they pay really well. So I went and took the test on like a Thursday. And like that Monday, they called me and they told me where to go. And I was just like, okay, it was the Viacom building in Times Square, you know, the MTV
Wow.
building. I was just like, oh, well,
Big
okay.
time.
Yeah, I was like, this is kind of cool. And I did like a half day and they were just like, okay, thank you. And I was like, cool, you know, and I just left. And then like 2 days later, they called me back and I was like, came in like for a full day and they were like, we're keeping you. I was just like, oh, okay. These like old ladies from like the Caribbean. It was a trip. It was like me and these like Caribbean ladies. And I was like, I'm
I
home.
love it.
It was awesome. And, but I was like, I was a sales assistant to the executive vice president. It was bananas. Like
Nice.
46 floor cubicle. And if I just like looked over my little thing, I'm looking at the top of the Chrysler building. I was like, hey,
That's awesome.
It was a trip. I learned a lot. You know, I did a bunch of crazy things for them. And I was just like, I got to see a big part of that industry. And I was kind of like, oh my God, like, especially here in New York, it's just,
I bet.
it was a circus. It was a freaking circus, but I learned a lot. And then right when JC was born, that was when I was like, all right, peace out. I got to go back to restaurants. Now I have to work nights.
Yep.
Take care of my kid. And it wasn't long before we started opening our own businesses, but yeah, I got to see a little bit of that world. And part of it was like really exciting. And then some of it, I was just like, oh, this is what people do. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's tough.
But same thing, like they were just selling commercial space 24/7, didn't matter. Like everything was up for grabs in a bunch of different spots. And it's funny because this was like 2006. So it was really like there was no major advertising happening on social media. I think Facebook at the time wasn't even doing ads, or if they were, it was like, you know,
Minimal.
almost non-existent. I mean, this was like MySpace era,
Yeah.
you know? So it was all, you know, it was all just like, what's it called? On the network, on the channel. So what's the difference? Is there a difference in approach for like something like that's on cable versus public access in terms of marketing? Do you see, like, you probably get a lot more local stuff? Do you get like national?
I don't personally handle the national accounts, but they definitely come pouring in, you know, the Toyota ads, the things like that. But we have our own special team that handle that. I'm more local, which I like, you know, I like to be able to go in and help, you know, local businesses, mom and pops, and really make a difference in their business.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
I want to get to that definitely on the next segment and talk more about like the intimacy, what really like the reason why we're doing this today based off of your post earlier this week. But yeah, that's for me too. Like it's funny because we're situated in like, you know, the biggest city in the country essentially. And I never leave like my 10 block radius because first of all, there's like tons of people right here, you know, but each neighborhood has like just a mega center, but it's just super intimate. And I get to stay like in touch with everybody and see them. Like I still see my customers. It hasn't been so like removed for me. Like I gotta say, like, besides not having people sit inside, which is definitely strange, not much else has changed for me in terms of.
So you're
like,
only outside there.
Yeah, and like in the north, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like whatever it was, I think it was the last week in December, right, like between Christmas and New Year's, maybe. Like we just got a ton of snow, and it was just like we have a backyard. I didn't do the sidewalk thing because it just is, I don't know, it's crazy. We have a beautiful backyard, so we tricked that out, put electric heaters, covered it and everything, but like the snow just came in on all sides, and I'm having a panic attack. I'm like, I got to get this snow out of here before people start coming. And people started coming like right away. Like we opened at 5 and people were right there, and I'm like, fuck, there's snow everywhere. And they're like, it's so cute. And I was like, really?
It's
like
fun. Yeah.
Not for me. And they were like, oh, it's so cute, we love it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just left it. But yeah, it's been insane. So yeah, we haven't had indoor since like mid-December, and we only had it from like the end of September until mid-December. It wasn't a very long run. And they shut it down again. So it's only outdoors, but otherwise I still just like, you know, everything else is just open coming and going. The only main difference I'd say for me is like I actually labor a lot more now than I did. Like
Right.
I never made drinks or cooked or anything like that. Like previously, now I'd be washing dishes again, just like whatever. We lost half our staff. Like literally half of them just left town. This hit, and people were just like, bye New York, like out of here. Not like massive. I know like some media makes it seem like New York is emptying out. That's not the case, but some people definitely took off, and we couldn't really hire anymore. So we're just like, I'm like bartending every night. Never did that before, but otherwise, but it's not that much. It's really, it's not that crazy, but cool. Let's take another break. And then when we come back, let's pick up with intimacy, and your Facebook post that really like drew me to you, but also like the thought process behind that and how that works for marketing. All right, everybody, hang tight. We'll be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Hopping in. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my old friend, Jennifer Schratwieser, talking about marketing these days. What really brought her onto my radar to do this show was a post she put out on Monday, and it quoted, I will quote it, "It's Monday." This is on Facebook, by the way, on her personal account. "It's Monday, time to kick ass." Yes. Anyone want to talk marketing for 2021? Email me at her email address. Have a great day. That's just like such an awesome post and an intimate way to connect with people. She wasn't asking for anything like, hey, hire me. Just like, hey, do you want to chat? I've got a few other friends only that I know through social media, but have been on the show. Damon Johnson at DJ Realty Solutions across all channels. He's been on a couple times. He's a real estate guy in Detroit, and he does that all the time on all platforms. He's just like, what's up, Twitter? You got real estate questions for me today? I'm here. Let me know what's up. I just think that's such a great way to connect with people. What was the thought process and the premise behind that?
Well, I think Mondays are always like the beginning of your week, and I always try to go into them with a positive, fun mind frame, because if
Maybe
you don't,
for you,
it's gonna be a long week if you don't.
Monday is my quiet day. That's why I saw that post. It was like leisurely, like scrolling, like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, not me.
Keep
Monday,
going.
it's time to get at it. So yeah, I saw that. I thought it was fun. I never am a salesperson that likes to go in and just start talking about myself and, hey, I can do this for you. I want to make it fun and learn about your business. So, I mean, I might not be a good fit for your marketing needs. I don't know. Let's talk about it. So,
right.
And if I can learn something from people and take it on to the next client, then it's a win.
That's awesome. A friend of mine, he sent me a video of this guy. I forgot his name, but he's like, the guy is so powerful and like guru-ish that Tony Robbins goes to him for coaching. Oh, wow. Like that's how I'm like, damn, really? But the dude is a trip. He's just like so down to earth. And my buddy was like, you remind me of him, because the guy was like a musician. He was like a rock and roll guy, but like always trying to hustle and stuff like that. And same thing. He says he's like the worst salesman ever. So that's why he never tried to sell. He tried to build relationships. And he said once he had people's confidence in their relationship, they would buy anything he wanted. And he was like early in like spam marketing, like even had like a federal indictment, like crazy stuff against him. But he was like, I could spam anything, because once I built my crew and my following, the same people would buy whatever I put out. It just didn't matter. And I'm a fan of that. I mean, I guarantee you my restaurant would not have been successful or still here. I don't know if it's successful yet or not. We got some time to go, but it just wouldn't even be here without those relationships. If we just like didn't know anybody and opened a restaurant, and we're like, hey, we're gonna serve food. People are like, yeah, go fuck yourself. especially around here. Like there's so many. Well, there are less these days, but was this like the idea behind just putting out a social post like this? Was that something like you've seen other people do? Was it just like off the top of your head? Is like a tactic you heard like some like social media marketing person do? Or is this something like encouraged by the network for you to do? I'm curious.
I think it's a little bit of all of it. Anytime I see a post, whether it's on, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, and if it's a fun message, I'm instantly drawn to it. You just were talking about relationships. That's the key. If you don't create relationships with clients, you're going to lose. They're going to lose. You're going to lose. They're going to walk away. I pride myself in creating these relationships to where I feel like I'm part of their business. Because if I can walk in back when I could walk in places. If you know, they give me a high five and say, heck yeah, our sales were this, and that's my goal. I want to help people kick ass. So that's why I try to make it fun. But yeah, Facebook is somewhere, it's an avenue that's one, doesn't cost anything unless you're wanting to spend dollars to beef it up. But you know, it's a no pressure way to reach people. And that's kind of why I did it.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Again, like I said, some of the people that I admire the most on social media that are, you know, not like Tony Robbins and people like that, just people that are, you know, more like you and I, do a great job with that. And it definitely, it works. Like when I saw that, I was like, well, fuck yeah, I want to talk about marketing because I love marketing, but I was like, I also just love this post and like that you're taking that up. And just, it's just like such an open and easy invitation versus like, I can help your business grow, you know, like some of the silly, like promoted ads that you see. Are you dealing with any social media marketing through the network?
Yes. So we do kind of all things digital, whether it be Facebook, you know, like if you ads that you see, like if you start Googling a pair of tennis shoes or whatever, and then you start seeing them on your feed, it's behavioral targeting.
You're the one sliding that ad in.
After you, and yeah, we're stalking you there. But the big kind of new thing is streaming television commercials. That's kind of where it's at. It's called Over the Top. And it enables us to really hone in on who your target customer is and serve them your ads.
So you're doing that through the company's Facebook page or whatever. So
we do really anywhere that you're online.
Oh, you got me excited by this. Tell me more.
It's fun. It's very Big Brother. Some of it can be a little bit scary, but you know, like for your restaurant, for example, if you want to reach, you know, adults 25 to 54 years old that maybe have a little bit higher income, so they have disposable income, so they can't afford to go do dinners and things like that. You know, we might go after people that are showing an interest in food and serve your ad to them. So whether it's, you know, if you're on finecooking.com or whatever, we might see a ad for you that could click through to your website or, you know, wherever the goal is for the client to reach you.
But are they actually doing like live commercials?
You can do like 15-second, 30-second. Some of them are non-skippable ads. So like if you hover over it, like even on Facebook, if you wanted to see, you know, if I have a real estate client and he wants to show his actual commercial that he actually does on TV, that can be done there as well.
That's awesome. I heard somebody, I think it was on LinkedIn the other day, talking about the power of live streaming and how like, it's funny because things change so quickly, right? So like 2 years ago, it was like video, like you have to be on video. And he was like, video is not even enough anymore. Like live streaming, you have to be comfortable in front of the camera and be able to talk wittily and like be able to go with the punches and just like, oh, like some strange shit just happened. But still like keep your composure and get your message across. And I feel so fortunate that I got kind of roped into doing this show. Like this wasn't, you know, premeditated. It just kind of happened. And it's been like 1.5 years now, and it's just given me so many opportunities where like, I think this month I'm doing like 20 live streams. And then I'm also doing at least two other pre-recorded interviews where I'm either the guest or the host. Some of them are group. Are you down with Clubhouse yet?
I'm not.
Oh my God, Clubhouse. We did our first live the other night. So it's invite only. Are you familiar with it at all? Do you know what it is? Oh man, it's great. So Clubhouse, it's like group chat, but it's invite only. So it's the opposite of like most social platforms. And it is like a social platform where, you know, most platforms want as many users and viewers as possible. This is like super exclusive. And it's really geared, I mean, it's not exclusively geared toward business, but that's a big component of it.
Yeah.
But there's literally, there's rooms, and it's almost like you're virtually walking down the hallway of like a convention. And in that room, they're talking about content creation. In this room, they're talking about yoga and business. In this room, they're talking, you know, and most people, like there's a moderator and then there's other speakers. You can come in and just listen. Like, doesn't mean everybody gets to speak, because that would be chaos, you know? But you can be invited in and eventually become part of a group. So me and like this crew from Twitter, we started a content creation in 2021 group, and we did our first live the other night, and it was super fun. And you just all get to talk, and it was kind of like ad lib the first time. We were just like, what are we gonna do?
What do we do?
But like another friend of ours just happened to see it and came in, and we're like, oh shit, you're part of the crew now. So, and we're starting to invite more people in, and now we're starting to strategize like, we'll have a theme for the day. I was in right before everything shut down. I went to, it wasn't like a meet and greet. It was like this round table kind of thing. What the fuck did they call it? I can't remember, but it was a trip. It was at Sam, actually the host. Sam, what do they call that? The TING, whatever. What is that kind of event called? If you don't mind, message me. TNG. What kind of event is that? So the executive producer,
networking.
Yeah. So he invited me as a guest, and it was really a trip because first of all, I was at the Wells Fargo across from Grand Central, and I was like, oh, what the hell am I doing in a bank? But it was really cool. And they broke us up into small groups, and they would just put out a question, and you literally had 2 to 3 minutes to give your response to the question, and it just went around. Like one table even had like a Nerf football, and they would throw it to you, and if you caught it, like you had to go. Like there was no, oh, I don't want to speak. It was like, no, you have to. But it was like a small, like 6 to 8 person group, and it was just like, and the guy was like, all right, 15 seconds, and you had to wrap your thought up, and it was so concise. And I was like, man, this is pretty badass. So we were talking about doing something similar in Clubhouse, so that there's not a bunch of like people talking over each other.
Right.
But yeah, it's just everything is in there. It's really crazy. And you can connect with people that like you otherwise would never get to connect with. So like Gary Vaynerchuk will be in a room, and like you can go in, and for a while you'll only be able to listen, but at a certain point you might get invited in and be able to speak and just be able to like ask Gary Vaynerchuk a question and have him respond to you. It's audio only. There's no video. So
wow.
It's like a little less,
Get me an invite. I want to go to one.
All right, I can set you up. I'll set you up. I'll see if when you sign up, when you get invited in, you get 2 invites. So they really limit the amount of people that are coming in. You got to be strategic with it. So I invited, Tony was one of mine. I forget who the other one was, but yeah, we'll dig it. It's like
very cool.
What was it when we go to like Fish and Dead shows? You need a miracle. You got to get a miracle. Jen needs a miracle, everybody. Yep. If you're listening, get her a miracle.
Someone help me.
Yeah. So it's like, we're going to be doing that every Monday night, at least, with that group. So that's like one a week. I'm doing this once a week. My brother and I do the one on Instagram every week. And then I'm doing like these random other ones. And it's not even like, I mean, it's fun, it's less for a purpose. I think this is great, just like blanket marketing, like by association. Right. Like I love marketing. I want to make a little money in marketing somehow. I don't know how, but like just getting up and talking about it, like it gets folded under my umbrella a little bit. But it's more just like teeth cutting for me. It's just, I have this like sense like I'm going to need this. Plus, you know me, I just love to perform and talk. So for me, I just feel like these are all just like great teeth cutting exercises, because someday you will get put into that spotlight. And the more comfortable you are doing this, like it might be for your business. Like if someone was like, hey, can you do a live commercial for Della right now? I would be like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like no questions. I wouldn't even think about it because I've been doing it enough. And it's funny, some of the people that I see on social media who are super active and like tons of followers and everything. And I'm like, hey, come and do a live show with me. And they're like, I don't do live shows, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, no, I've misled you. Like, they're like this person on social media because they get to cater it. They get to take their time. Some of it's just text, some of it's just a still picture, but to like actually do this. I mean, even you were kind of like, wait, what are you?
Well, it's nerve wracking. You never know with you. You might throw like a weird curveball at me and then I'm like deer in the headlights.
I've done it a couple of times. I'm treading lightly this time, but maybe next time, maybe we'll have you on again and like really, really throw you a curveball. But yeah, I mean, and I saw another thing on LinkedIn that was like, you have to make your guests feel comfortable if you want this to be successful. And so it's kind of like, that's kind of rude to be like, ask some crazy question and just be like, oh, I wasn't prepared for that,
Well, you're good at knowing your audience, so you know what you can get away with.
I also like, I fall a lot, but I get up pretty well.
There you go. That's life.
I'm learning how to roll out. It's all that jujitsu training. All right, we're going to take one more quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap this baby up, everybody. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're here talking marketing in 2021 with my old friend, Jen Schratwieser. She is currently working for Channel 13 in Norfolk, Virginia, selling ad space, mainly on the local level. We're talking about intimacy and that power allowing you to work closely and really cater your services to your customers. And I'm glad you made the distinction versus national, because that's like a whole different bag of worms, right? Like, or can of worms. What is it? Bag of something else.
Can of worms.
Can of worms. Yeah. I don't keep it clean often, but I didn't take the bait on that one. That could have gone south. That was the curveball. I really hesitated. It was so close. Anyways, yeah, it's completely different when you're dealing with national brands, and just like it's like almost completely the opposite of intimacy, right? It's just like
100%
empty, soulless marketing.
Well, and they have like all the money, so it's
yes, they have all the money.
It's
crazy. I'm curious. Have you done? How do I phrase this question in regards to social media marketing? I mean, I'm aware of it for brick and mortar because I've done it myself and outsourced people to do it. But are you all working with like digital services as well in terms of running ads on social media for them?
We do. So we have a third party, we call the smart people, the people that are way smarter than me, that handle all of that. We, after, diving in with a client and figuring out
it's so funny that you say that. Like you and I, you were getting older, and there was, there wasn't even internet when we were in high school.
I know, right?
I'm like super late to the social media game, like literally like a year and a half in, just like figuring it out. And I've got like these kids that help me. I just call them the kids. They're like 30, but they're like children to me, but they're like my help. They're the smart people.
They are
100%. That's so funny. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just thought that
no,
was
it's
great.
okay.
Keep going.
So basically I figure out, the goals of what the, my potential, hopefully client is looking for. We do a deep dive into what their needs are, what that looks like. And then put together, whether it's a social campaign or any form of digital component. And then I, send an email and paperwork to the smart people, and they do their magic and they monitor it and make sure it's working.
That's awesome. Similar situation. I'm funny because I've got a lot of friends, and most of them, it's weird. Like some of us who have been in brick and mortar for a while, we're like, damn, this digital marketing thing is profitable. Like we're over here, like you were saying, like all like paying for printing for a magazine. Oh, yeah. It's like buying food. Jesus Christ, it's so expensive. And these guys, they're like, I had this guy on, one of the smart people. He was one of my first guests, and he has a digital marketing service. And I'm like, so what are your expenses like? And he's like, I got an LLC, bought a laptop. And I'm like, that's it. Like, it's amazing to me. I was going to ask you something else, and it just slipped away pertaining to that. I like, for example, like I'm interested in generating ad revenue for the show. Like, how would you go about, somebody there that had like a digital show that, they're just doing kind of like not through a network, and they wanted to get ad dollars. What would be your approach to getting them some money? Make me that money, girl. Where's the money
at? I think you could start off by finding some sponsors and just kind of, reaching out to people that you have that that would make sense. I mean, depending on who you're talking to that day, or whether it's the restaurant or whatever, and finding people and creating a service for them, which will then turn into a need, and think outside the box. That's what you have to do. And with online is constantly changing.
Right.
I mean, we have training meetings 3 times a week because it's constantly changing. So, think of something cool and challenge yourself and make it happen.
I remember what I was going to ask you. How has the monetization altered in the last year? I read somewhere there was a certain point, maybe over the summer, where all of a sudden, like, you got a much more, it was an article that was saying, like, right now you're getting a much bigger bang for your buck on Facebook ads than you would say in like January 2020, like mid 2020. It was like a lot of companies just disappeared. A lot of people pulled their budgets in their marketing, their campaigns back, because they were they didn't have the money. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of text messages. I'm trying to clear them. Everything I said that was going to happen happened. The seafood guy came. Did you even notice?
I did. You were very smooth. You were like,
I'm like, thumbs up, dude. Thank you. I'll check it in a minute. And then there's like all these text messages. But have you noticed that something similar in both in network and online? Is that something you could back up, or do you think it's not?
I think 2020 as a whole has been really just weird.
Just fucked up.
Like just
really
weird.
What, did something happen?
I think initially when all of this started happening, everybody freaked out and it was like, don't spend any money.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? But now, I mean, you got to go through it. You got to keep your doors open. So how are we going to do that for you? You have to be even pickier with avenues that you go down, and really you have to figure out who your customer is. Who's your customer? How are we going to reach them? What's the best way to do it? And with, the way things are right now, a lot of people are working from home. So like broadcast TV right now, ratings are through the roof because it's more people are watching them, whether it's on their tablets, their laptops, their TVs, whatever it is. So that's really changed. But, we see reports, car sales are back up, furniture sales are up, home improvement is through the roof. Like people are home and they're noticing, God, my bathroom needs to be remodeled or whatever.
Or I got to build an office now, right?
Exactly. So,
so how has that affected ad dollars? In like, let's say over the last couple months, I'm seeing an increase in ad dollars for sure. And it's new clients too, like people that, maybe have not tried, whether it's social advertising or broadcast TV or whatever it is. It's, we're all having to think of things differently now and kind of get into that scary part of trying something new. See, I love that part. That's once everything is like situated, I'm like, I'm bored. I got to go.
Well,
I got to go and find some new shit now.
Yeah. Now I will tell you my biggest pet peeve when I'm talking to a potential client or even a client I have, and they're like, yeah, Jen, I want to try, TV. And I said, okay, great. Well, like, what are you doing now? Well, I tried, this and it's not working. My first question is, well, how long have you been doing it? And what exactly are you doing?
They're like 2 weeks. I tried
exactly.
for 2 weeks.
And I will, most salespeople will never push money away, but I'm like, no, it's not long enough. You got to try something for at least 3 months to make sure it's working.
Right. And something else you said is like, you got to try different things and like figure out, first of all, who's your real client, because then people are like, oh, everybody. Like for me, I'm like, yeah, everybody eats, but not everybody wants to eat like baby octopus. Like you got to find those people. And then you have to just like kind of gamble and throw some money down some avenues. And like you said, you got to give it more than 2 weeks. You got to like, and you may lose on some, but then you'll probably find the one that works. Like we did that early on here, and I remember we blew a lot of money, but like we found like the 2 things that really worked. And then it was like, okay, that's where the chips are going, like all in right here, or maybe not all in, but like big on that. And you still can play with some other little things. And that's even flipped since then. Like it's no longer relevant at the moment. Hopefully it comes back, and hopefully it comes back better. But like you have to gamble. You will lose some money for sure.
You do. And you don't want to use the shotgun approach of, putting, 50 eggs in a basket. You want to do 1 or 2 things, kick ass at it, get a killer return, and then either add to that what you're doing and then maybe go into other areas.
To that end, I'm going to quote Tony because, I quoted him when he was on the show too. This is one of my favorite things he ever said to me. He said so many great things to me over the years, and I like didn't listen to the majority of it for a number of different reasons. I was high most of the time, but just there's a bunch of different reasons why I just completely ignored him. But this one stuck with me, and I think it's a great marketing approach too. He said it's better to own 20% of 5 things than 100% of one. And I was like, and you have to take the same approach to marketing. It's like, spread it out a little bit, not everywhere. Like everybody's getting $2. That's not really going to work, but pick like maybe 4 or 5 different things.
Absolutely.
Put a little bit into it, and you'll see pretty quickly, like, oh, this is okay. Let's adjust and put the returns in there. So
100%.
Awesome. Well, we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much. This was really, really awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was a good time. Yeah. Thanks so much. It was good to see you.
You too. And we'll do something like this again, and we'll get you in the Clubhouse. You gotta get in the club.
I'm in.
if anybody has marketing questions for you, where is the best place for them to reach out to you?
You can email me. It's Jen, Jens, as in Sam, at 13newsnow.com. So Jen S at 13newsnow.com.
Awesome. I'll drop it in the comments in the video on Facebook. So guys, if you have any marketing questions for Jen, hit her up. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Have an awesome weekend. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Bye.